How's everybody doing today? My name is Kevin, or Mr. Peace. Two fingers up for peace real quick. We're just going to start with some hip-hop to kind of wake us up. All right, here we go. All right, shit. That's how I get up every morning. Took a beat on my alarm clock and I just wake up and start freestyling. No joke. But it's awesome to be with you guys to share my heart. My name is Kevin, or Mr. Peace. And I see some familiar faces because when I went to middle school, this is my middle school. I went to Millennium, which was Lyon. So it's awesome to be back here to share my heart with you guys. That's where I grew up in the South Lyon. My heart's still in this community. But the talk today has a lot to do with these two individuals. And like the hook of my track just said of the chorus, it says, love over hate, it's peace over war. It's the dream that MLK and Gandhi stood for. But now it's our time to keep doing right, because we know in just 2 seconds we can save a life. And so look, MLK said, one second here, the time is always right to do what is right. And what is right is to treat people with respect, compassion, kindness, see them like you see your own best friend, right? And what Gandhi said, his actual quote is that you've always heard, be the change you wish to see in the world, but the actual quote is you must be the change that you want to see in this world. That if you want to see more love over hatred, if you want to see more kindness, that you have to do this. And it's not just like, well, if you feel like it, go ahead. He's saying, no, we have to. Talk today that I was brought in to speak on is about bullying, seeing people for their heart first. But more importantly, it has to do with my shirt, one race human. That we're able to see everybody around us as human beings before anything else. But so much gets in the way. And if you guys can just do this real quick, like this, like this. Now go like this. No, don't do that. Listen, this right here, your fist is as big as your heart. Your fist is as big as your heart, right? Here's the idea of Millennium. If we let love, peace, compassion, kindness, empathy, and appreciation of diversity fully enter into here, we turn this into this. And the reason that it's two, this is a middle school in Massachusetts, but the reason that we have it two, the peace sign, is because one finger is yourself, the other finger is someone you're trying to lift up higher than yourself if you choose that. But it's also two because in just 2 seconds, what I've witnessed in my lifetime is that in just 2 seconds, one word, one action, one breath, one heartbeat, we can either uplift somebody higher than the clouds, something we say or do, stay to their heart in a positive way for the rest of their life, or in 2 seconds, we can destroy a life. And you know, it's crazy because I just got back from Texas in December. I was speaking out there near Houston to try to bring some healing to a lot of the schools affected by Hurricane Harvey. And what's crazy, what you witness, whether you see it on TV or you're down there in person, is that after these natural disasters strike, whether it's Irma, Maria, Nate down in Florida, the wildfires in California, anything, people from all walks of life come together to help their fellow human beings. Caucasians, African Americans, Hispanics, Asians, everybody came together to help their fellow humans during these crises. But why does it take a tragedy for us to finally wake up to start treating people the right way? It shouldn't have to. I was just in Detroit with my youth group. I'm a full-time youth pastor as well at St. Mary's in Milford. And I live in Commerce Township with my wife, but on off days I travel, I speak to people from age 5 up to age 105. But I was with my youth group in Detroit at a soup kitchen about 4 months back, and we were serving lunch that day to about 1,000 people that were homeless or just needed a meal. And I was the mashed potatoes, and the lady next to me was the gravy. We just kept going, one tray after another, didn't really think. We served over 1,000 that day. And she tells me that she was there 2 months earlier. Her first break in the action, I got to know her. She said she was there 2 months earlier, doing the same thing, serving what was on the menu randomly that day. And then she randomly looked up across the counter, and she saw her brother. And her heart just sank, because she hadn't seen him in 15 years. He fell on hard times, lost his job, his car, his house, was living on the streets, had a substance abuse issue ongoing, and she hadn't seen him in 15 years, and she just stopped what she was doing. She ran across the counter, she hugged him, they embraced, they cried. But the whole point of the story was, that's how we should be treating everybody all the time. Like they're our brothers, like they're our sisters, but so much gets in the way. And look, it's not easy, right? It's hard to maintain the peace when you get a phone call that your friend passed away at 24 years old. And there's nothing you can say or do, yeah, that's protocol. You just pray for healing at the friend's closed casket funeral. His only crime not being buckled in the back seat. So when they hit the median, he flew at least 50 feet. Out the hatchback of his best friend's SUV, at least when it happened, he was already fast asleep. Now heading back home on 96 eastbound, it took the cops a while just to track the body down. And at the viewing, you just sit and watch, but without a sound, while inside you're screaming about to cough up half a lung. Numb to the touch because it doesn't seem real. His boy only fell asleep for a second driving behind the wheel. But that's all it took, though. Can only imagine all the pain he feels. Parents have to bury their kids. It's surreal. October 21st, 2010, I lost a dear friend of mine, Steve Nagel, to a drunk driving accident. He wasn't buckled in the back seat, driving home from a bar in Detroit, and the person that had been driving him fell asleep. And Steve got thrown out the hatchback. Only for a second, he died an impact. A month later, I got a phone call from Grandma Flo at 2 in the morning, and that day, October 21st, was the start of my hardest day physically on this planet. And I got a phone call from Grandma Flo saying that Peyton's gone. I said, what are you talking about? And she said, Peyton's dead. And she was 17 years old. Her dad came home from work like he always did, got home late, saw the light in her room still on. He walked in to shut it off, but she was on the floor, lifeless. She had died from a heroin overdose. And I saw her that past June. I said, Peyton, I'd love for you to come back to one of my youth group members. She just graduated high school. I want you to come back and be a young adult helper. She's like, sure, I'll be there. And those are the last words that I heard. And I get there at 3 in the morning, and Grandma Flo just fell in my arms. And what are you supposed to say? What are you supposed to feel? I started kind of shutting down, and then a couple weeks later, my friend Josh died from an oxycodone overdose. So I attended back-to-back-to-back funerals, and now my heart's starting to get pretty full. That same month, I'm diagnosed with hepatitis C, which is inflammation of your liver. You need your liver to live. A and B had vaccines and cures. C really didn't at the time, and the treatment was self-injections once a week, 52 weeks, and 6 pills a day that make you want to throw up. And it was like a liquid chemotherapy. So I responded really well to the treatment, but I lost a lot of weight. I lost 45 pounds in the first month. And then I was in and out of ER for the next 9 months. An emergency, a lot of health complications. Only to be told a few weeks after that my uncle fighting brain cancer passed. Another uncle, a month after that, leukemia. That June, my grandmother and my grandfather in the same week. And I was pallbearer for back to back to back to back funerals. And now my heart's ready to explode. And everything culminates in August. Outside my apartment with my cousin who was pregnant, and 2 guys in hoods came through with masks, and they had pistols at our stomachs and said, "Into your pockets." In this moment in your life, everything flashes before your eyes. And you start to think about what you appreciate, what you really value. But I remember the days that followed that. I hated people that did that to us. I hated all the loss in my life, all the pain. On the outside, I was still smiling, I was happy, but on the inside, I was screaming, I was dying. I was in so much pain, and I just became numb. I stopped feeling, I stopped caring, especially how I treated other people. That was the least of my priority level. I didn't care what I said, I didn't care what I did. I hurt a lot of people. But then finally, I had this wake-up moment in my life, a lot of these wake-up moments that we have sometimes, and I realized the best way that I can honor those people's legacy that have gone before me, make sure that they live on in my heart still, is about how I choose to live today. By my actions, right? That's how I can honor them, make sure that they didn't die for nothing in that thing. And see, look, I was broken, but I was still okay. And almost 10 years later, I got healed from the hepatitis, right? It's not traceable in my body. Almost a decade later, I was healed physically, but guys, more importantly, I was healed in my heart. And with pain comes greatness. If you let that, we're all going to suffer. We have billions of nerve endings in our body. We're meant to feel pain, but we always have a choice how to respond to it, right? I've been in over 20 states now, over 1,000 schools, over 1 million youth in the last 10 years that I've spoken to. With pain can come greatness, if you let it happen. And these wake-up calls in my life made me appreciate every second, every breath that I have. Every day I'm losing sleep sometimes because I'm so passionate about what I do, right? But I know that every second can either uplift or destroy. I have to be on. I have to respect everybody, no matter how they're born, whether they walk differently, talk differently, see differently, hear differently, learn differently. I still see them as a human being. And see them with their heart first. Because if we don't, we're going to cause people a lot of pain in their hearts that can last forever. And we're seeing this too often in the news. This is a 10-year-old, Katie Cole, from near San Antonio, Texas. He's a special needs student. And he's been to run a lot of jokes in the past because he learns a lot slower than his classmates. He doesn't get that they're making fun of him all the time, roasting him, and he doesn't really understand. And he's playing with some of his so-called friends near a field by where they live, in the neighborhood. And it's a hot Texas day a while back, and they want to build a fire inside the shed. And one of the other 10-year-olds thought it'd be a funny idea, once the fire got started, to kick the gas can towards Katie. And he did, and some of the sprinkler on his leg, and he actually caught fire. Over half his body was burned. He was put into a self-induced coma. And he's doing fine now. He's recovering fine. But they went to interview these 4 boys who are now facing charges at 10 years old. And 3 out of 4 said that they wanted to tell the person whose idea this was, they wanted to tell him to stop. But they were too afraid if they did that, they wouldn't be accepted anymore, they wouldn't be respected. So someone's life was potentially less important than doing what's right. 10 years old. This is a 9-year-old. Laney Turpin, she's from Alabama. And a special needs girl moved to her school. I know some of this is hard to see yet, but this is what's happening with youth, even younger than you, across this country. This is the reality that's going on. But a special needs girl moves to her school, and Laney goes up to her current friend and says, "Hey, I want to be friends with this new girl." And her current friend, instead of saying, "No, I'd rather you just stay friends with me," body slams her to the ground, gives her 2 black eyes and a concussion. This is 9 years old. 8 years old, Jordan Jackson. He's walking home from school in Louisiana with his sister. Some of his classmates shout out, "Go back to the cotton farm." He said, "That's racist." I said, "No, it's not." So he starts walking faster. They start throwing rocks and small pebbles at him and his sister. He goes to protect her. When he stops, they catch up to him, pull him back, pin him down to the ground. They pull his arm back so hard it actually fractures, breaks. 8 years old. And I just got done speaking in San Diego a few months back in California on the coast by the ocean. And I had a line of 50 students in elementary school in tears wanting to share something on their heart after my assembly. Yes. Isabella Kuma? Sorry. Thanks. When I was down in San Diego after my talk, I had it was elementary, there was a line of 50 students wanting to share something on their hearts. Some of them in tears, and this second grade African American boy comes up to me, the 7-year-old, says, Mr. Peace, my classmates are saying, go back to where you're born. Go back to Africa. He said, Mr. Peace, I was born in Los Angeles, California. I don't understand. This 6-year-old, this Hispanic boy comes up to me and says, Mr. Peace, this first grader, said, Mr. Peace, my classmates are saying, speak English. He said, Mr. Peace, I'm talking English to you right now. I don't get it. This 5-year-old, this Asian girl comes up to me and says, Mr. Peace, my classmates are saying, open your eyes. She said, Mr. Peace, this is how I'm born. I don't understand. So here's my question to you guys. You think that this 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old thought about these things on their own? No. All the time people say kids are cruel, people are cruel. I say, no, they're not. They're just mirrors. All of us are mirrors, right? We just reflect, unfortunately, many times the negative things that we learn in our environments, and it's not what we're taught inside these walls. But at home, the people that we value, their opinion, we can always choose to reflect love or hate. Is it safe to say that what happened to these students would be on their heart for the rest of their life? You know, it took a few seconds, right? These are negative things that will be on their heart, right? Here's a more positive one. This is middle school here in Michigan. It's Olivet Middle School. It's near Lansing. And they made the news a little while ago. A lot of the football players at the school, they made friends with a special needs student named Keith. He struggles with boundaries. They're going to talk about it.
We end tonight with the football play of the month. It was executed with amazing precision by the Eagles, the Olivet Eagles. Steve Hartman has the play and the post-game analysis on the road.
Between classes, they schemed and conspired. For weeks, the football players here at Olivet Middle School in Olivet, Michigan secretly planned their remarkable play.
Did anybody go, this is a crazy idea?
No, everyone was in on it.
Well, like the coaches didn't know anything about it. Feel like going behind their back.
I've just never heard of a team coming up with a plan to not score.
It's just like to make someone's day, make someone's week, just make them happy.
The play, which was 2 plays actually, happened at a home game earlier this month. The first part of their plan was to try to get as close to the goal line as possible without scoring, even if it meant taking a dive on the 1-yard line, which it did. The crowd was not happy. Quarterback Parker Smith.
But us kids knew, hey, we got this. This is our time. This is Keith's time.
Keith Orr is the little kid in the brown jacket. He's learning disabled, struggles with boundaries, but in the sweetest possible way. Because of his special nature, it's no surprise that Keith embraces his fellow football players. What is surprising is how they have embraced him.
We thought it'd be cool to do something for him.
Because we really wanted to prove that he was part of our team and he meant a lot to us.
Nothing can really explain getting a touchdown when you've never had one before.
Which brings us to part 2 of their play. If you didn't see Keith, it's because they were so protective of him. But he was in the middle of that rush.
And when you crossed the goal line, what was that like?
Awesome. It was like, did he just score a touchdown?
Get your head around.
Like, oh, dude, I can't.
Keith's parents, Carrie and Jim, almost missed the moment, but they got the significance.
Somebody's always going to have his back from now until the day he graduates.
She's right. When the football team decides you're cool, pretty much everyone follows suit. Today, Keith is a new kid. Although by no means was he the only one who was profoundly changed.
What was it like for you?
It was like once I saw him going, I was smiling like about like here.
Wide receiver Justice Miller.
Like nothing could wipe that smile off my face.
Why did it affect you so much?
Because like he's never been like cool or popular, and he went from being like pretty much a nobody to making everyone's day.
Justice admits the play wasn't his idea.
I would not really thought about that.
He says it never crossed his mind to give Keith any glory.
Well, I'm kind of went from being somebody that mostly cared about myself and my friends to caring about everyone and trying to make everyone's day and everyone's life.
Which may just make that touchdown the most successful football play of all time. Steve Hartman on the road in Olivet, Michigan.
All right, good luck for Keith. So look, this is so cool because it took a lot of courage for these football players to do this, especially the quarterback. They took this dive at the one. His parents got really mad because the game was close and they needed the score. And all the other fans on that sideline, that team, were really upset because it was a close game. But hearts started to change. The other team too, they were like, guys, you're like the open lane to the end zone, why don't you just walk in? But hearts started to change because of this one action. And what was so cool about this is for how much courage it took them, this changed Keith's life forever, right? Because not only was he accepted by everybody on this football field, he was accepted by the entire school. And what they proved is that who won or lost the game, it wasn't as important anymore as making this human being feel welcome on this planet. And all of us have that same power. That's why we have to be so conscious of our actions, right? To uplift or destroy in just a few seconds. And look, I was brought into a middle school near Milwaukee, Wisconsin a few months back to help with the race bullying issue at the school. And after my talk, this 6th grader named Anthony came up to me and he was crying. And he said, Mr. Peace, I'm not really racist. I'm just alone. You know, sometimes it's because we feel alone that we lash out, that we hurt others. Sometimes it's because, we're in pain ourselves. Sometimes it's just because we're jealous, somebody has something we don't have. Sometimes it's fear, like we talked about in those other stories, and who we fear, what we fear, unfortunately, many times we hurt. But guys, the biggest reason I've seen why people hurt others is that hurt people hurt people. And what I mean by that is that when you guys are first born, right, your hearts are kind of like this empty cup, pretty much empty, but little by little, people start to say things that really hurt our spirit, that diminish our worth and value. They say that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not tall enough, you're not enough. And we believe these lies, and our heart starts to get full. And what will happen if I keep filling this up? Overflow. The first grader says, it's going to explode. I said, no, it's not. But here's the idea that if I keep filling this up, it can overflow onto ourselves. And unfortunately, we're seeing that too often with some of the self-harm, right? But even worse, it could overflow onto others, and we're seeing that too often in the news. But look, no matter how full our heart gets of hurt, loss, pain, there's always room for love if we let it. And it's true that hurt people, which is the easy thing to do. If someone hurts me, I'm going to push that pain onto someone else, how I treat them poorly. That's a choice. But it's also true if we choose this, and that love enter forgiveness. It's also true that healed people heal people. And what I mean by that is that if I choose to forgive somebody that's shown me only hatred, which is not easy to do, I become healed in my heart, right? And now I can finally be all in for this earth to start helping heal other people. Martin Luther King Jr. celebrated his birthday actually on the back, right? But he said that darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. And he said hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. I had this 9-year-old who came up to me after my talk. This was north of Chicago in Illinois. Her name was Sandy. And she had a friend next to her. She was crying. Her friend was holding her. And she said, hey, Mr. Peace, I just lost one of my good friends. She was 9 years old. I just lost my best friend, Alexa. She had a brain tumor. And she was fighting cancer, and she passed. And she said, ever since that day, I've been so bitter. I've been so angry. I've been so mad. I've been treating people really poorly. But she said, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to honor her in a positive way. And she gave me this bracelet. She said, I'm making this choice. Starting today, this is hashtag love never ends. That this 9-year-old is making a conscious choice to choose love over hate. All of us can do this, right? And look, I got a friend of mine, her name is Irene Coppola. She's 103 years old. 103, a little older than me. Right? But listen, Irene, I was at a birthday party, kid came up with some cake, and I said, Irene, you're 103. Like, tell me about your life, the good times, the bad times, the glad times, the sad times, the bad times, times around the bad. She said, Mr. Peace, my most painful memory was back in 4th grade. Over 90 years ago, she remembered what happened yesterday. It was still wrong with her heart. She was in front of the class. This boy came up from behind her and made fun of her because of her height. She was short because of her weight. She was higher than her classmates. And it just stuck with her for 40 years of her life. All she kept doing was playing this negative record from this one-time action until she was 40. Every time she tried something new, I'm too heavy to do that. I'm too short to try that. And then finally, at 40 years old, she consciously forgave this person in her heart and chose to become a youth worker to help other students that felt like she became healed to help heal people. Now, speaking in Indiana to middle school, about 1,000 students, the 6th, 7th, 8th graders, and the 7th grade counselor came up and she interrupted my assembly in front of everybody. She said, "Hey, Mr. Peace, everyone's so sorry to interrupt you, but I just got to share something on my heart." I said, "Yeah, go ahead." And she said her most painful memory was 35 years ago, back in 7th grade. Her name was Kate. And she was a new girl at school, and right before lunch one day, this group of popular girls came up to Kate and said, "Kate, you can sit with us today at lunch. Go get your lunch, and then come sit by us." And she's like, "Is this a joke? Are you guys serious?" They're like, "No. Go get your lunch, and then come sit by us." She's like, "Okay." So she gets her tray out of lunch line. She's like, "Oh my gosh, this is my shot. I'm finally feeling, I'm finally be accepted for who I am." And as soon as she sits down, the other girls at the table stand up on their chairs and they shout across the cafeteria so everybody can hear them. They say, "Hey, everybody, check out Kate. She came in 4 nice clothes." And she runs out crying. And her parents didn't have a lot of money growing up, so sometimes she had to wear the same outfit 2 or 3 times a week to school and was always put down because of it. But she forgave these girls in her heart, took her some time, and then she chose to become a 7th grade counselor. So that what happened to her most painful memory back in 7th grade, would never happen again to any of her students on her watch at her new school if she could help them. She became healed to heal other people. I was checking out of the school in California, signing out at the coast and this elementary school, and this 3rd grader named Don came up to me and said, "Hey, Mr. Peace, do you want to know what my most painful memory was?" I said, "Yeah, tell me." He said, 2 years ago in 1st grade, I had my heart crushed by this girl. I had my heart broken. So I'm thinking to myself, somebody started dating him, and now there was a Facebook official and stuff. But it turns out that's not what it was. There was a 5th grader on the bus, and for 2 months straight, 2 months in a row, this 5th grader would turn to Don and say, "You're never going to have any friends." Just because he was born in a whole different country in the Middle East, said, "You're never going to have any friends." A 5th grader to a 1st grader, right? Like, think about the impression. He said, "I came home the first night, cried myself to sleep, didn't want to go back to school again, felt like my heart broke into a billion pieces." He said, "Mr. Peace, it hurt so bad. It felt like I didn't want to be born." But then he said something that I'll never forget. He said, "But you know what, Mr. Peace?" I said, "What?" He said, "Now I have best friends. Now I have best friends." How many of you guys have best friend? Hands down. And he started crying. He pointed to his best friend standing in the office named David, his 4th grader at the time. He said, "Mr. Peace, that's my best friend David. When I was getting teased, bullied, harassed, ridiculed, put down, he stood up for me when I didn't have the courage to myself." That's a best friend. You see people like for their heart first, right? Like you do see your own best friend. I was speaking in Pennsylvania, and she's a 6th grader now, but this girl named Cheyenne came up to me after my talk, said, "Mr. Peace, this girl named Jenny moved to our school this past fall. She's in a wheelchair for life. She's in a wheelchair permanently." And she said the first day that Jenny got to school, Cheyenne's friends pulled her aside and said, "I'm going to talk to this girl. She's different. She's weird." She said, "No, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm listening to my heart." And she went up to her and said, "Hey, do you want to be friends?" And the girl said yes. Ever since that day, lunch, recess, gym, library, she includes Jenny. And then she said something to me, this 5th grader, like her wisdom. She said, "Mr. Peace, when I see her, I see this before this. I see her heart before this wheelchair, before this piece of equipment." Guys, it takes so much courage to see people for their heart first. And that's the actual wheelchair. But we also have to see people for this. Every one of you on the palm of your hands has a letter M etched with the lines of your hand. Bless you. Every one of you, some of you have it on both hands, some of you just on one hand. But with the lines of your hand, you have the letter M on your palms, right? And this M stands for Michigan. No, I'm joking. I said that in Columbus, Ohio, I kicked out. This M stands for miracle. Upside down W, worthy. But the problem is, so many students I speak to, they can't see this in themselves. There was this fourth grader, this is Dylan, from a school in Connecticut, and he pulled this out of his pocket. And he said, Mr. Peace, I look at this at least once a day to remind myself who I am. He said, you forgot that M also stands for mistake. And someone told him this, that he was being devalued in his life, and he was close to it. He believed this lie. He wrote this down and said, look at this once a day, remember who I am. It says, I'm a mistake. And this just breaks my heart. He said, I don't want to believe this anymore, Mr. Peace. I want to believe this. And so he sends me this picture that week. His class took a self picture of all their M's traits, and they said, we're going to support him. We're going to help him see that he's worth everything, right? That he is enough. Because all of us are enough. Even if you've been told that you aren't, those are just lies. There's so many opinions, guys, but not everyone matters. What matters is that you know this, and your true best friends who are worth your time, respect you for this. I just spoke at a school down in Georgia, and I had a sixth grader come up to me after my talk. It was the middle school in the area. They have all the visually impaired students at that school, too. Her name was Kylie. She came up to me, she was legally blind, she had her walking stick. And she said, Mr. Peace, can you trace my M? And she can't even see her hands. So I did, so she could feel the M. And she said, Mr. Peace, that's the first time that I've ever felt like a miracle. All of you guys have this power, if you choose, right? I had an eighth grader come up to me after one of my talks down in Kentucky. He was tall as me, 6'3", 6'4" on my good days. His name was Kellen. And he said, Mr. Peace, there's a girl named Sarah moved to our school 2 weeks ago. She's got third-degree burns all over her body. She got trapped in a house fire with her mom. The house burned down, but she made it out alive. But because of that, they had to move to a new school district at a new house. She started this new school. And they all meet in the gym before the bell rings at this school. So she walks through the doors and all eyes are on her. And all eyes are on Kellen. He's the tallest kid in the school, most athletic, most popular by far. And they're going to see what he's going to do. And they're going to follow that lead. He goes up to her and he says, hi. And then he says, you're with me. Which meant nobody will pick on you. Nobody will tease you, nobody will bully you. Could have went up to her, called her ugly, and redeemed the look, where I stated the obvious and imperfection. But he chose a higher path. And some of you guys that have that power and influence, and you know who you are, and I know who you are too, because they have lives, you have this choice to either build up or tear down. And I'm hoping that you're using your influence to empower, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, we have to do this. This is an 8-year-old named Jackson Bessett, a real-life wonder. He has Treacher-Collins syndrome, the facial tissue bones in his face haven't fully formed. He's from Idaho. When he came home one day, his classmates kept calling him monster, freak, ugly. And at 8 years old, he told his dad, Dad, I want to end my life. 8 years old. The need is here. His dad posted online the next day thousands of videos from people like you, some older, some younger, sent him words of encouragement to lift his spirits, to help him from doing the unspeakable. That's the power all of us have, not just within these walls. You guys could be having an influence on people across this country, across this planet, if you choose that. Guys, the need is here. We can always choose kindness. I'm heading back to Newtown, Connecticut in April to speak again. I've had the opportunity of speaking at Sandy Hook and some other schools. You guys know the story behind it. But the whole focus of the community is that they don't want to focus on the tragedy, they want to focus on kindness. In the second grade class, they gave me this. And I'll sign it. It says, one kind word can change someone's entire day. One kind word can change someone's entire day. But look, I believe, Millennium, that one kind word can save a life if we choose that. Every time I give, I pick about 10 or 12 of these bracelets to put on, and these become my strength and my armor. And they're for people like you, some younger, some older, that said, Mr. Peace, if you didn't come today, I wouldn't be here tomorrow. That's how serious the bullying was getting at their school, or how serious the self-hatred and the non-love was getting in their hearts. It's never about wanting to die, it's about not wanting to deal with pain anymore, right? The craziest one I've ever gotten was from a 9th grader named Tom. He pulled this out of his wallet and didn't say one thing, but I instantly knew what it was. It was his hospital and an unsuccessful attempt. And I just hugged him and I said, you're loved. I said, you're here for billions of reasons. But the biggest one is to help others who are going through that storm, to be their light, to be their hope if you choose that. So he said, I said, you don't have to carry this pain anymore. And he replaced it with this bracelet. It says, I am a sign of hope. And he's helped so many other students that are in this darkness to be their light. We can always choose this. I had a 6-year-old that made this book with kindergartner. It says, thank you, Mr. Peace. Aim for the good days, not the bad days. Love, Lily. She left the inside blank on purpose. I said, why'd you do that? She said, well, I did it on purpose. I said, yeah, but why? She said, well, because, Mr. Peace, we can choose what will make our lives, good or bad. We can choose love or hate. It's up to us. No matter what pain we felt. And I don't come to these talks to pretend that I know what goes on behind closed doors, because I don't. I just come with an open heart and hopefully touch a small piece of yours. But if a 6-year-old can do this and make this choice, all of us can do this. If something I share touched your heart, can you raise your hand? Hands down. I've had 30 minutes with you guys. If I can touch your heart in 30 minutes, you think about the impact you can have on someone's heart for the rest of your life and the rest of the school year, right? If you keep it open and choose love. And it's not easy to, but this is something that can always overcome everything, guys, because the bullying will still be there, the hate, the fear. I spoke at a school, the 7th grader emailed me 2 weeks after I spoke, his name was John. So he got tripped 2 weeks after I spoke in the hallways by this bully. He got tripped. And he stood right back up and walked over to the bully, shook his hand, smiled, and said, have a great day. And the bully's mouth, when he shook his hand, dropped, and everybody watching their mouths dropped because they expected him to cry or try to fight back but failed. But he did the opposite. And the biggest thing this person who was hurt and needed, showed love. He got his power back and took away the bully's power over him. And that wasn't easy. Now they're best friends, and 2 days later he finds out that both of his parents are borderline alcoholics, and there's a lot of abuse going on in his house. And that's why he was just doing what he did. He was just reflecting what he saw. But he finally saw this person from his heart. Hurt people, but heal people if we choose this. Guys, I know a lot what I share is heavy on my heart, but it's the truth. It's what's happening with a lot of youth. But know that you guys never have to go this alone. You got people that care about you, that love you in these seats, counselors, coaches, teachers. You got myself, you got best friends, right? That see you for your heart before anything else. You guys can always reach out. And if you need to, this is Nick Vujicic. You guys might have heard of him. He's a speaker. He has no arms, no legs. He was born without arms and legs. He has a wife now, 4 kids, lives in Australia, has spoken to millions. He had thoughts of actually taking his life on multiple occasions, even at 10 years old, growing up. His mom told him originally she didn't want it. He overcame all of that pain, to show his greatness, his worth, his value. And if somebody with no arms and legs is giving this much back to this earth, this planet, I mean, how much more can we all be given? So much. If we choose that, this planet needs us, guys. If you need to reach out to me, I'm going to give your teachers all my contact information. MrPeace.org, Instagram, MrPeace, why not? Mr. Peace 101, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. If you guys want to subscribe, continue the message, follow this way, you guys can. There's also a store. You guys can get these shirts and the ones that say keep your head up, upside down on purpose. So if you're feeling down, it says keep your head up. But more importantly, guys, I want you to continue the message behind your choose to live. You guys touch my heart. I don't have all the answers. If you do need to reach out, I can always get back to you right away, but I always get back to you. If we don't have time to talk today, feel free to send me a message. I'll just reflect what you guys are doing. You guys are beautiful. You guys are miracles. Sometimes you just gotta be like that. On your way out, give me a hug, high five, whatever makes sense. I'm just gonna close with a quick minute hip hop track if you guys can stay for a second. We'll close with that. Thank you for touching my heart. Here we go. On the track. Teachers, I'll send some follow-up resources too to keep the conversation going. Get all my hip-hop skills from your principal. Here we go. Two fingers up for peace. And just rock from west to east. Millennium. Listen in, it's up to us all to put a stop to the bull in the classroom halls and within these walls. I want to go to school, no matter the way. I feel safe, I feel loved, ain't celebrated, so I gotta put myself in the other person's shoes. Cause what I say might hurt and stay stuck like glue on the other person's heart, and it's just not where I gotta stand up. But laying there for what I know is right. If I see someone get bullied out, think of this right then. Do what I say, all that I get to take action. Now is the time, and it's okay to tell. And I don't want a teacher, and give some help. Yo, it's up to us all to put a stop to the bull in the classroom halls and within these walls. I want to go to school, no matter the grade. I feel safe, I feel loved, ain't celebrated. So starting right now, I'm going to make a pledge to treat everyone like I treat my best friend. Now is the time. Today, put a stop to the bullying. No more pain. No more pain. No more haterade. Just the Gatorade, or the Powerade, or the Minute Maid. Now you got it made. Thank you guys, touch my heart. Peace.